Hello. Good afternoon, y'all. It's Cheryl Banks. Let me put my little screen right. This is your fearless leader coming to you live because I am doing TNT, Tuesday noon training. Those who show up, go up. So glad you're with me. I've started reading a new book. One of the challenges I had was for everybody to pick up something new. Leaders are readers. Pick it up. I wanted a hardcover. Every morning when I'm on the treadmill at 5 in the morning, I'm listening to some positive motivational self-help kind of lecture or sermon or just some person that's going to help me be a better leader, a better person in some kind of way. But I challenged my unit to pick a new book. Pick a book to read. And I already had this one on my shelf. I think I started it years ago, but I didn't like really get into it. So I'm starting over. And it's How to Be Like Women of Influence: Life Lessons from 20 of the Greatest by Pat and Ruth Williams with Michael Mink. I didn't see that. Anyway, so I'm going to be sharing with you how to be like women of influence. And we are going to start off with Eleanor Roosevelt. I got to be, upfront and transparent. And I didn't know very much about Eleanor uh, Roosevelt. But now that I've read about her, I am impressed and excited to share with you a little bit about her through this little list of how to be like Eleanor Roosevelt. And number one, and this is like how to be like women of influence. Are you a woman of influence? Do you aspire to be? Yes, and yes. Okay, so number one is strive to keep your social conscience awake and vibrant at all times. Caring comes from being able to put yourself in the position of the other person. Roosevelt said, if you cannot imagine this might happen to be me, you are able to say to yourself with indifference, who cares? So when you see that person with a need, that person who's struggling, having a hard time, her heart was with, I mean, people in the community who couldn't make ends meet. She was really into and where she came from was amazing. She looked around at an early age and she saw people suffering in one way or another, and she decided to throw herself into community. Her father took her to a help serve Thanksgiving meal in a poor community, and she just fell in love with the cause and helping other people. Her course of helping disadvantaged was set. Now, in our business, y'all, we see people struggling all the time. But instead of offering what we have, we think of ourselves as, what if she's not interested? What if? So we need to take that from ourselves and lock it on others and share what we have that could help to change their situation. Put yourselves in the other person's shoes in conversations. I have Mary Kay's prayer right here on my computer that I read from time to time. And that's what she does. Make me alive to the other person's feelings. Help me to enter into the mind of everyone I talk to. Of course, Mary Kay's featured in this book as well, but we have not gotten to her yet. So get in the other person's shoes. Number two, blaze new paths and don't allow yourself to be restricted by outdated traditions. Blaze new paths and don't allow yourself to be restricted by outdated traditions. When her husband was elected president, Roosevelt blazed a new path as First Lady, one of social activism rather than strictly ceremonial duties. Because before her, they were just like trophy wives. They were just, being seen, but she wanted to make a difference. You are here for such a time as this. I am here for such a time as this. So grow where you're planted. What difference can you make where you're planted for the good of womankind, mankind, right? Number three, see yourself wherever you have to go to do so. See things for yourself. That's what it says. Hey, Annette Kinslow, see things for yourself. Wherever you have to go, do so. Get in the field. Don't go by what someone says to you. As President Roosevelt's eyes and ears, Roosevelt's motto was go out and see for yourself. Make others see what you've seen. And when you're successful in your business, when you go out in the field and you work and you make things happen, it's easy for you to paint a picture for others. Uh, Elizabeth, I mean, she was a world traveler. Eleanor Roosevelt was a world traveler. She wasn't interested in getting her information solely from reports or other sources. She said, if I remained in the White House all the time, I would lose touch with the rest of the world. Get out into the field, make things happen. Number four, don't shy away from making your opinions known. Be confident but cool. Eleanor Roosevelt, expressed her opinions to her husband, to those who criticized her, and to the American public. She is remembered for her outspoken courage. When was the last time you spoke up when you were prompted to? What you believed was right? Number four, pay attention to details. Paperwork. Admiral Halsey wrote that when Roosevelt visited hospitals during her trip to the South Pacific, he was annoyed. He didn't have time to be playing around with this rich lady, not knowing uh, her character, because people will judge you based on their precepts and their experiences. So Admiral Halsey wrote that when Roosevelt visited hospitals during her trip to the South Pacific, she stopped to speak with every wounded man to find out if he was getting what he needed. She even inspected the hospital kitchens. You know, don't rush care. Care about each individual that God puts in front of you. Ask questions. Seek to understand before being understood. Number six, communicate with everyone you need to. For 26 busy years from 1936 to 1962, Roosevelt wrote her daily syndicated newspaper column, My Day. It was called My Day. Through her column, lectures, and press conferences, Roosevelt helped to shape the debate on issues such as civil rights, women's rights, Senator Joe McCarthy's communist witch hunts, and world peace. Your life is bigger than you are. Your life is bigger than you are. We are meant to let our light shine. We have to communicate with everyone we need to about everything we feel prodded to. Number seven, when you feel something is wrong, take a stand. How many momentous events in history began with people who had the courage to stand up? How many huge events? Let's just say huge, since I can't seem to say momentous events in history began with people who had the courage to stand up. In 1939, an organization that Roosevelt belonged to, the Daughters of the American Revolution, refused to allow contralto Marian Anderson to sing in Constitution Hall, which they owned, because she was Black. Roosevelt was outraged and resigned from the organization. She made her feelings known in her My Day column. No stranger to taking many principled stands, Roosevelt lived her public and private life by a simple formula. In the long run, there is no more liberating, no more exhilarating experience than to determine one's position, State it bravely and then act boldly. Take a stand. You heard that saying? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And not only did she cancel resigned from the organization, but she made it to where Contralto Marian Anderson, the black singer, would sing in front of what was it, the Lincoln Memorial. I just thought that was amazing. So she was not playing any games. She was serious about equality, and she just had a love for people. I was looking to make sure that I told you the right location. Lincoln Memorial Constitution Hall. Let's see. It is, yeah, the Lincoln Memorial. That was amazing, right? So that was number, okay, take a stand. Okay. Number 8, stay mentally strong. No excuses. Roosevelt lost both of her parents before she was 10 years old. She lost her brother Hal to alcoholism, yet she never felt sorry for herself or retreated to crutches such as alcohol abuse. She made sure Franklin wasn't treated like an invalid when he was paralyzed. What was it? Polio or something? What was it? I was reading this today and I was like, man, she was an amazing woman. Let's see. What was it? Yeah, polio in 1922. Um, his mom was an overbearing, domineering woman who, when he got polio and he was crippled and he couldn't move his legs, she wanted him to just fold up and go into the family compound and just relax. But Eleanor Roosevelt was not built out of that material. She did not treat him like an invalid, and he did not want to be treated that way. She helped him. She was amazing. I don't even know this woman, but she was amazing. Okay, number 9, realize you're never too old to contribute to society. You're never too old. Don't listen to what the naysayers say. Roosevelt was 61 years old when Franklin died in 1945, yet she was, in a sense, just getting started. In 1958, 13 years after she'd been First Lady, she was chosen the most admired American in a Gallup poll. I didn't want to cease trying to be useful in some way, she wrote. I did not want to feel old, and I seldom have. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Number 10, make use of all hours in the day. She got up early and worked late, even when she was well past 70. Number 11, live your life with passion and boldness. Roosevelt said, perhaps the older generation is often to blame with its cautious warning, take a job that will give you security, not adventure. But what? I love adventure. But I say to the young, do not stop thinking of life as an adventure. It's always an adventure. You have no security unless you can live bravely, excitingly, imaginatively, unless you can choose a challenge instead of a competence. A challenge. That's where it's all about. Number 12, do what your heart, led by God, tells you to do, and don't worry about what the critics say. There's always going to be critics. I love my ex, or my previous national sales director. She says, you know that you're ahead when people are kicking you from behind. Everybody's going to have an opinion, and some of them out of the blue. I say Jesus had these issues and he was perfect. He was right. So it seems to me that I cannot afford, as a self-respecting individual, to refuse to do anything, to refuse to do a thing merely because it will make me disliked or bring down a storm of criticism on my head, she once remarked. You can't please them all. You can't. Be you, be authentic, and make sure your heart and your motives are right. Okay. Number three, number 13. Mary Kay's favorite number. Make the most of every day of your life. Be present. I have this thing on my thing. Be here now. Be here now in the moment. That's where God is. That's where you are. Everybody, so many people are living in the future or being pulled by the past. It's three ways to be pulled by the future. I mean, just anxious and stressed out about the future, in the past, regrets and blame and all the things, or distracted by things. Distracted, y'all. Be focused, be present, be with the person you're with, be intentional about your days. Okay, make the most of your everyday life. Um, what basic objective I had for many years was to grasp every opportunity to live and experience life as deeply, as fully, as widely as I possibly could. That's what Eleanor said. Number 14, know your strengths. Early on, her mother made it very clear to her that she was ugly, that she wasn't physically beautiful. And she was always ashamed and self conscious. Her mom made up for it by teaching her to have really good manners and things like that. But of course, she never had a good relationship with her mom. Her mom died at a very early age. Her dad was her world, but he struggled with alcohol problems and he passed away. But at the end, she said, know your strengths. Roosevelt wrote, I had really only three assets. After all she did, this is what she said. And her dad told her she was beautiful. She was a daddy's girl. Roosevelt wrote, I had really only three assets. I was keenly interested. She was interested in everything. I accepted every challenge and every opportunity to learn more. And I had great energy and self discipline. I think that's more than 3. Energy is different from self discipline, learning at every opportunity, accepting every challenge, keenly interested. I mean, what are your strengths? I thought this was so good. I read the whole chapter on her. And next, I'll be reading and sharing about Mother Teresa or one of these other fabulous ladies. I wanted to share this to just share she, of course, was well off, but she chose to get in the field. And if you read her story, you'll be amazed. And her life was all about caring for other people and improving the lives of people who were thought of as less than or people who had less. And we really could use that in our business opportunity because I truly believe that Mary Kay, the business, is the best thing going because it causes you to grow. It causes you to grow. It causes you to learn about other people, yourself, and it causes you to grow spiritually. I mean, if you get full into this, there's no way you're not going to grow in some way physically, financially, all the things. You're going to meet lifelong friends, and it really causes you to see what's really important in life, and that's relationships, and that's people, and all the things. So come on, let's go and make a difference because we are all here for such a time as this. Thank you for joining me. Off to sushi with my girlfriend. Have a fabulous day. Bye.